You're listening to SM Media, the home of exclusive West of Scotland Football League content. Hi folks, and welcome to part 4 of our West of Scotland Football League 2022-23 Premier Division season preview on SM Media. I'm Scott McPike and I'm delighted to be joining you as always. On the final part of our season previews for the Premier Division, we speak to Clydebank, Hurlford United, Glenafton Athletic and Cambuslang Rangers. For Clydebank, we spoke to their manager Gordon Moffat about their season ahead as they look to overcome their 4th place finish last season, a phenomenal season for the Bankies as they finished 4th and had a good run in the Scottish Cup. As well, Hurlford United, we spoke to their manager Darren Henderson about their hopes for the season going forward after finishing 6th last season. Glenafton, we spoke to their captain Craig Pettigrew about their season ahead as Ryan Stevenson looks to, after his first summer as manager of Glenafton. And Cambuslang Rangers, we spoke to their co-manager Paul McColl about their season ahead, the newly promoted champions of Conference B. Let's get started by talking to Clydebank and Gordon Moffat. So we're delighted to be joined by Gordon Moffat, the Clydebank manager. Gordon, it's a pleasure as always to welcome you on to the channel. Thanks for coming on.
No problem. Thanks for having me on again.
It's a pleasure.
Juggling in between work calls and meetings here, so good to have a wee break.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll touch on obviously the season previously. A 4th place finish in the league, doing really well in the Scottish Cup. Brilliant season all round. You must have been happy.
Yeah, I think we were happy with last season, Scott. It was I'd probably describe it as a really good progression. You know, I think I sat with you last summer and you sort of asked what's the plans and all that, what's the targets. And that I think I said to you, I remember speaking to you at the time, I said that is the target, to get closer to the top teams because we've been too far away for too long.
Yeah.
We'd been skating around when I came back into the club, 10th, 11th. The curtailed season, we were 9th points per game. And then we were first in the COVID season, but it was 7 games. So you can pretty much discount that. So I think for us to jump to 4th, and we were close to getting 3rd at one point. Obviously, Paul it pipped us. It was a really good progression, and I think obviously Scottish stuff was just a huge bonus. If you'd asked anybody at the club about Scottish expectations, there would have been none. And it was, I think, just having the Dalkeith game in the first round was amazing for everybody at the club, and to go to where we did and be on the cusp of last 16 was just like, it was fairy tale stuff. And it was, if we're lucky to get another run like that this season, we'll be doing well.
Yeah, how good is that for the club as well? Obviously, we spoke to you before about the kind of club getting back to that stage. Like, how good was that for the club to see like the committee members experience that again?
Yeah, it was massive, and that was, for me, that was mainly my enjoyment from it, Scott, was just seeing the sort of buzz around the club and the board that have been lifelong fans. Grace, coming off the pitch. I was going to say coming off the pitch after the Dalkeith game, the first one, she was in tears, but I think it was every round. There was more tears every round. I remember she was the first person I've seen coming off the pitch after the Clyde game, and she was just like so emotional. And like, I get that because it's been a lot of time for those guys, and I think it was just such a buzz around the town having that run. It was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely as well. We'll touch a bit on obviously the quick turnaround for last season. How's it been kind of over the summer? The players kind of had a good break as kind of short as it's been?
It's been a weird one. I think I'm probably not the only one that will say that. Speaking to a lot of managers in our league and that, as we do, it's been a bit of a strange pre-season because of the length of last season. It's meant that it's been all over the place. Some teams, if you go down the conferences, for example, quite a long break. With less games, but certainly Premier League teams with a 38-game season, it was an absolute marathon. So it was a very short break, and it meant that, and again, probably COVID played a part in this as well, but it meant when we came back in, pretty much every player was having a holiday of some sort, whereas in a normal year, some guys are maybe saving for a house or some guys can't go away. But I think because we've not had holidays, I was the same. I was like desperate to just get abroad this year for my girls. So pretty much every player had to have a holiday in there. So it's meant that the first few weeks were very fragmented in terms of numbers and having bodies in the building. But certainly we're back to sort of pretty much full quota now, and that's what I said to players. Get the holidays out of the way as best we can and be ready for the season. So it has been a wee bit odd, but overall, I would say pre-seasons it's been what it's been. We've made sure we've got the players physically ready to play games of football, and we're pretty much there now.
And what kind of transfer activity have you done so far this summer?
So we brought in, we obviously brought a few guys up from the 20s, a very successful 20s team. We brought some guys up in first team contracts, and a few of them are out on loan. So as an example, young Connor Hamilton going to Clydebank, just to get games at West level, because it's such a jump for 20s level. So that's been important, and a few of them are still around about the squad. And then we've added 5, potentially 1 or 2 more to come. But we brought in Kyle King, a young goalkeeper, Larry McMahon from Beith, who'll be a really good addition. Josh Weir up top, real bit of pace. I was keen to add to the squad. And then we brought in the 2 lads from Drumchapel Amateurs, Alan Kelly and Connor Higgins. So those guys done the full pre-season with us and have really shown up well. Really good, just young local guys, desperate on an opportunity, and they've come in and they've grabbed it. And ability-wise, they'll no better place whatsoever. They've looked very good, and we're just getting them up to speed with 1 or 2 wee bits off the ball and stuff. But they've been really good additions to the squad as well. So maybe 1 or 2 to come, but I'd say we're more or less there.
Brilliant. What about how competitive the league is this season? You've seen obviously the 3 teams coming up, and a lot of teams kind of below where you were last season have strengthened. It's going to be a really tough league this year, isn't it?
Yeah. Obviously, speaking a wee bit off camera, but it's you look down the list of teams and it's just big clubs, for non-league level, really big clubs. And again, some of the resources now that clubs have got, through, and again, a lot of them through their own doing, they've got out and got people to help them and different things, sponsorships, new owners. There's really a lot of money for, it's all relative, but there's a lot of money round about this level now. And, for us, again, it's no sob story, but we're fan owned, so it's slightly different. So for us to compete with that can be difficult at times. It means we lose out in 1 or 2 guys sometimes, which is part of the course. You just got to deal with that. But I think across the league, there's some clubs with big resources now. And there's some, it's not just budget side, I think there's some really well-run clubs. A lot of clubs getting a licence, which similar to we did last year, that helps because it just takes a couple of Scottish runs and then that boosts you again. Yeah. So it's going to be so competitive. A lot of good managers as well. I speak to a lot of them and get on with a lot of them and sort of touch base, and a lot of really good managers at this level, and I think it's brilliant. It's brilliant for Tier 6. It's going to be. I think it's going to be a real advert for non-league football next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're wishing you all the best for the season ahead, Gordon. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
No worries.
So it's a pleasure to welcome on to the season preview the Hurlford manager, Darren Henderson. Darren, welcome back to the channel. It's a pleasure to have you on as always.
Pleasure, Scott.
How are we?
Good, mate. Good. Ready to go for the new season. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we got off to a good start. So just a wee bit like last season, which helped us.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll touch on last season. Obviously, a 6th place finish. I think you would have definitely took that at the start of last season if we were sitting here a year ago.
Aye, just with the personnel that I lost and the sort of squad that I had, really short numbers. I think the maximum we had at any time this season was 15. So really pleased to finish joint 5th or 6th, obviously in goal difference behind co-winning. So that was, it was a good achievement for the boys.
Yeah, absolutely as well. We'll mention as well, obviously, Taz McKenzie, it was his testimonial this week. How key a player's he been for you in your time at Hurlford?
Oh, listen, he's been a wee star. He just, just on the pitch, he's great off it as well. He's my captain, sorts a lot of things out in the dressing room without me getting involved. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He trains injured, he plays injured. Apart from just at the end of the season there, Scott, we were lucky we had him back for the cup final, but he missed 6 weeks. It's probably the most he's ever missed for me. You know? No, he's a great wee lad as well, and you know, and last season arguably one of his best seasons for me. So he's still going strong yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's been a tremendous servant for Hurlford. We'll talk a bit about the kind of quick turnaround. Obviously, you played in the cup final as well last. That was kind of just over a month ago, wasn't it? It's been a quick turnaround. How's that been to kind of get the players back into kind of good shape getting into this season?
Well, it's great to leave off, you know, and with a wee bit of silverware.
Yeah.
You know, we won in, so you know that it's a wee spring in their step, and they're always looking forward to coming back. The only wee issue we had was it was only a 2-week turnaround, which is probably, then I've got to throw their holidays into that as well, and you know, and rest up, and obviously new signings that we're just trying to like find a balance. Some of the boys that we brought in had to play for 7-8 weeks, and the rest of the squad, so it was a wee bit different from normal pre-seasons. So, but we're nearly there. You know, we've had one game against Largs, and we start again on Wednesday against Maybole. Then Saturday we've got Sunrar at home. Finish with Craigmap next Monday for the home Rob Roy game at home a week on Saturday. So we're looking forward to it.
Very good. What about your kind of transfer activity so far? Who's been kind of some of the players you brought in over the summer?
Well, you know, obviously a really small squad, Scott, so I lost it, but I had to add a few. Again, I brought in Craig Reid for Darvel, who obviously has a vast career in the seniors, you know, and he'll give us a wee bit of experience at the back. You know, I also brought in Ross Fisher back that I had before. He went to, and I brought Ross back, so they'll just give us that wee bit of, you know, experience. You know, I've got like Chris McKnight, Taz, I've got, you know, Chris Robertson, Mark McCain. So I've got about 5 or 6, but the rest are really young. So I brought in a few younger ones. I brought in Mikey Millen who got released for Kilmarnock. Mikey's a lad who's only 19, goal scorer. I had Mikey on loan last year, and then went back, he got an injury, went back to Kelly. Then he had a wee spell at Sunraro on loan. I signed young Robbie McCracken for Auchinleck. So Robbie's come in as well. Also brought in Ross Love from Largs and Chrissy Taylor, young goalkeeper from Irvine Vic. So far that's for additions. We lost a couple and we've brought these 6 in, so we're 4 up in last year's numbers, which needed to happen.
Yeah, absolutely as well. One thing when you look at the league, we've spoke to a lot of people about this, is just how competitive it is. Obviously, there's a wide range of kind of big teams coming into the league, and obviously it's going into a 16-team league this season. How competitive does the league look in your end?
Oh, frightening. You know, it was the same as last year, Scott. Last year was daunting. You know, you looked at 7 teams going down, and you know, we were quite fortunate last year. Apart from, you know, I would say the top 4, like Darvel, Auchinleck, you know, Pollock, Clydebank, winning, and ourselves. We were fortunate we got away to a good start. We were probably the only 6 teams at any time in the season didn't look, you know, like as if they could go down.
Yeah.
We had that, you know, because you didn't want that pressure, you know, and you know, you look at teams like Rutherglen, Glencairn and Benburb, who would probably have thought at the end of the season they've got more than enough points to stay up and end up going down. You know, and it was a couple of the games went to the very last kick, so we were fortunate in that sense. But up until we got as many points as we could, you know, you're still looking over your shoulder, and believe it or not, last season wasn't too enjoyable. Certainly for me and probably for the players as well, because every game we probably didn't play some of the, like, maybe the way that we wanted to play in some games. It was just maybe we were up 1-0 or 2-1, and we just, you know, you want to get the boys on, you want to get subs on, and sometimes it was just, you know, the game was just too tight, and you try to just see the game out and just get 3 points, and 3 points was a must every week. But once we kind of found out mathematically that we could stay up, we could relax a wee bit, and obviously with the final to, you know, season with. But no, it was difficult. You know, it was, even though we finished, you know, 6, it was a really difficult season. You know, some really good sides in it, and some really good sides end up getting relegated as well.
Yeah, there was that. Final question: what's the kind of overall target for the season? If I was to speak to you come May, what would you be happy with? What would be the target for Hurlford this season?
You know, the old saying, you just want to stay in the league. You know, obviously You know, every manager will say that. You know, it's difficult. You know, you've got like Darvels and Auchinleck, you know, and you know, people like to sometimes if we go to Auchinleck, we know the side they were, you know, you just don't want to get them angry. You know, that Auchinleck will always be there, they'll always be a major force. Darvel are trying to be the new kids, you know, in the block, and you know, they've done great as well. You know, Pollock were fantastic for a long spell last year, so were Clydebank. I'm sure Colwynn, who have added a lot. And even teams below us this year, you look at their additions, you know, Cumnock's made a few, Evan Meadows made a few as well. So, you know, Glenafton, Bede. So it's going to be really, really tough.
Yeah. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on, Darren, and best of luck for the season ahead.
Pleasure, Scott. Thanks for your time, pal.
Thank you. So it's a pleasure to welcome to the show the Glenafton captain, Craig Pettigrew. Craig, it's an absolute pleasure to be on the show. Thanks for coming on.
No bother, Scott. Cheers for having me.
Absolute pleasure. How you been?
Aye, good mate. Good mate.
It's going to be another kind of hectic season. Obviously, it's going to be hard to top the hecticness of last season with the managerial change halfway through when Mick left and Ryan and Mark took over. How you been kind of getting used to kind of Ryan and Marco's kind of way of going about things?
Aye, they've come in there and kind of the standards they expect after the boys in training and stuff. It's very high, and they've come in straight away and very professional. Obviously, they've played that, both of them played at a really good level during their careers and stuff, and get great experience. So they're obviously pushing that onto the boys and try to lift everything. So it's really good, enjoying it.
Brilliant. Obviously, as well, last season was a bit of a weird one with the relegation kind of battle that went all the way to the second last game of the season. What was it like to just get the safety secure? That must have been a massive buzz for the team as well, obviously, after a difficult start.
Aye, it was a really tough season. We didn't start well at all. I think we get 1-1 in 8 or something at the start of the season. We had a few tough games. Every game's kind of tough in that league, obviously, but we had a few kind of tough games. That with a bad start, it kind of knocks the boys' confidence. There was a few young boys in the team as well, so it's hard to get that back and kind of steer it in the right way again. But we got good results on and off, but we just weren't consistent enough, and that's why we found ourselves in bother for so long. And it was a tough season, but as I say, the relief just getting over the line. I think we finished 12th or whatever it was at the end up. But the last few weeks were kind of squeaky bum time, to be fair. Yeah,
you know that. But obviously, it's been a quick turnaround as well. Obviously, I think you played your last game like 28th of May or something. It's been a quick turnaround. It's been hard to kind of get the body back to normal going into the new season.
Aye, sometimes it's good not getting much of a break, because then you kind of get too unfit, if you know what I mean. I was away on holiday there for a week, but I felt all right when I come back, and the boys are on good shape. They've obviously started pre-season and a few friendlies and that, and the boys are all feeling fit. And it's tough, just like every pre-season is, because you've got to work hard to get the benefits of it. But as I say, it used to be 6 and 7 weeks ago, off years ago, but it's not the case now. It's 2 or 3 weeks and you're back into it, which, as I say, it's maybe not a bad thing.
Obviously, as well, it's been a busy summer in the transfer front. A lot of players coming in and out. Probably the main kind of signing of the summer's been Paul Payton, obviously an experienced pro playing at the likes of Dundee United. What's it like to have somebody like him in the team?
Aye, he's a good boy, very good player as well. So I think all the signings we've made have been good signings. So they're all settling in really well. And as I say, Paul's had a great career. And, 35 like myself, but still really fit boy, and he'll bring a lot to the team this season, definitely.
And obviously the one thing when you look at the league is how competitive it is with like kind of Atherley, Cambuslang, Petershill, and a lot of teams kind of saw how close it was last season, kind of round about yourselves. What's your kind of thoughts in the league? How competitive does it look to you?
Even more so this season. I would the 3 teams that are coming up have all been in the Premier League in the last 4 or 5 years probably, so they know what it's all about, and they've obviously won the three conferences there. So they're coming up with a bounce as well. So it's going to be I think it's got to be even tougher this year. Although there's 16 teams instead of the 20, but it's going to be really, really competitive, and I think there'll be results everywhere this season. I think teams will, be a really tight league, and everybody will beat everybody, to be honest.
What about Glenafton? What's the kind of overall target? Like, what would you say is the kind of ambition going into the season? Where do you want to finish?
You want to win the league, don't you? Let's be honest. Every club in that league will be pushing to win the league, regardless of who it is. As I say, everybody, you've always got your Auchinleck, your Darvilles, Pollocks, Clydebanks. They're all big teams co-winning. But you're in it to win it. Every year you want to win the league, regardless of who's in the league. So we're no any different. And as I say, the manager and Marco and Kelso and stuff, we're all ambitious. They want to push the club as far as it can go. So just need to wait and see. And as I say, we'll be trying our best to win as many games as possible and see where it takes us. Because we don't want to be in the bother that we were in last year, certainly. Because it wasn't enjoyable at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for coming on, Craig, and best of luck for the season ahead.
No bother. Cheers, Scott. Thanks, pal. All the best.
So we're delighted to be joined by the Cambuslang Rangers co-manager Paul McColl. Paul, it's a pleasure to welcome you onto the show. Thanks very much for coming on.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. How are you?
Good. 2-1. Roasting the day.
It's red hot. We are recording this in the warmest day in history, so please forgive us. We will touch a bit on last season. Obviously, a League One promotion to the Premier Division. How was your kind of overall assessment of last season?
No, it was good. It was a good season. Home record, I think we only get beat once the whole season, which is really good. That kind of helps us to win the league. And we scored a lot of goals, didn't concede many. So if you score a lot and don't concede many, you've got a good chance. And the boy Williamson was on fire, so that helped us. He scored already goals for us. But other guys chipped in, but just a great season. Perfect season for us. And we end up winning it with quite a few points at the end up.
Yeah, absolutely. A brilliant season to clinch promotion.
But definitely.
It's been a quick turnaround, obviously, for last season. It's been different the past couple of years, obviously, with COVID. It's been kind of stop-start. But now we're kind of seem to be on a clear path. How good is it to just get back to a normal kind of summer of...
No, it's good. It's good to get back training, no distractions, get some games. And as I say, the last year or two, it was games cancelled, COVID cancelled and everything. So it's pretty good to just, as you say, back to normality. And fans there. Fans in the friendlies have been pretty good. Good wee crowds in that last couple of games. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah. What's it been like? Obviously, a lot of really good standout performances the whole of last season. How good's it been to kind of keep the majority of their players?
No, it's good. Obviously, a few left. The guys just wanted to move on, and we're only signing a few of them. But there was no fault. We wished them luck. So they done us a wee turn last year. So now we've got some new guys in. Couple of decent signings in, and listen, we can still add. So we've no kind of finished yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what you touched on, obviously, Scott Williamson, obviously the top scorer last season, getting his move to Queen's Park. How happy are you for him to get the move to the Championship?
Great. It worked out great it worked out for the club pretty good, because Scott's a good boy and already goals, so somebody was going to notice him. And Queen's Park's a good club. It's just down the road. So, and I know a few people have played there. Coaching was Belka Michael and a few others. So, no, we're really moving from worked in Greg's, and now he's a football player, getting paid full-time money, and he's scoring goals for them. He's went there and scored in most games he's played in. So, a couple of reserve games and a couple of friendlies, and listen, he'll score goals anywhere, that boy. So I'm hoping he gets a game there, and there's a good chance the way he's gone now with the goals he's getting. So I don't know many strikers they've got at the Queens, but I don't think there's loads of strikers, so he's got a chance.
Yeah, absolutely does, yeah. But obviously it's going to be difficult for you to replace the goals, but David Cox, he's a good addition. How happy are you to get him in the door?
Aye, very good player. Stocky, well built, gets about, holds it up well, good nerve for his height. And he scores goals and all. He scored last week, so I'm pretty sure that he'll get a few goals. There's Anson there, Jack McClarty, 3 or 4 or 5 strikers, Dylan McLaughlin and Harry Kent. So young Harry's 50 goals with 21s last year. So big boy and all, strong, good goals for us. So there's a lot of competition for to play up front. 5 strikers, 2 spaces. You know what I mean? So
absolutely, yeah. How's pre-season been? Like, obviously, there's been kind of getting games under your belt. How good's it been for the players to get back into it?
We played Glencairn. Probably could have played better. Lost a couple of daft goals. really warm day. The pitches took a bit of a battering, so and then we played St Cadoc's. End up doing 2-0, come back to it. So we played pretty well that game overall. So each game as it comes, we'll try and pick up and get better and better every week. But it's a hard league. It's probably the hardest it's been for a while in the Premier.
Yes.
I mean, my team's at 16. Can't remember exactly. Everyone's a decent team, so there's no easy games.
Yeah, it's a very competitive league. Like obviously, the thing with the kind of 3 Premier Division, the 3 teams getting promotion to Premier Division is they're all very, very good teams. How good is that league going to be this year?
Very good. Athlete didn't get beat the whole season, so they'll be good. Petershill, Lockie had them flying and off, so we played them. They're a good team. So I wouldn't say there's an easy game. Last year, maybe teams, let's say, there's a couple of games winnable for them, but this year you've just not got, which is good. That's what you want. You want to be playing every game's a hard game. I think players will be more up for it. Crowds get better crowds, a wee bit more money, it helps the club. So, but listen, we're looking forward to it. But it's going to be tough. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be tough.
Absolutely. Well, yourself and Billy, what's your kind of overall target for the season? What's the kind of main aim for this campaign?
Listen, you want to stay up, obviously, but you want to aim for a wee bit higher than that. So you'd be daft not you want to aim high. You'd want to be aiming for like mid-table, round about that. But we're not going to get carried away. It's a tough league. You can ask me that question next year, and you could be 4th bottom, and you'd be happy to stay up. So, but overall, you'd want to do quite well in it because we've got a good team. So we're capable of beating teams. So if we make it hard at home and win the home games and pick some draws up, I think you could do okay. But listen, I would say that league's as good as the 2nd division. There wouldn't be much in it with a lot of the teams, Darvel's and Paul or these teams and Glenafton's. So they're really good teams. But as the league you want to win, there's teams that get Gartcairn and St Cadoc's, good teams that didn't manage to get in it. So it's going to be tough to get out of their leagues. They're all in the now. So we're kind of glad we're in it now, and hopefully we'll have a good season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, Paul, and we wish you all the best for the season ahead.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. Nice talking to you.